I expect Recharge Oddball, maybe not Sentinels' best game type of the past. I'm not quite sure how they've recently been playing in it, but they have been known to maybe not be the most efficient team in some of their games. If Acend want to stay in the series and push this series to distance, I said it in the first series, they gained momentum quickly. They win game 1. I think it's a very important repeat of the same recipe here against Sentinels. Winning game 1 would be massive. Being able to figure out a way to play scrappy and get efficient objective work done against Sentinels is a key to winning.
I think something that you highlighted is just how much it comes down to some of those individual plays. If you can be that one player to just live a little bit longer than you should have, pick up 2 kills instead of 1, you can really break the setup, find an opening to collect the ball, and hold things down. Can't wait to see it. Going to be a brawl either way. And like you said, that first match going to set the momentum going forward for this one. We're just about ready to jump in. Can't wait to see some more Halo West. In the meantime, in case you don't know, we've got drops all stream long. Type ! Drops. We're giving away the Kaboom weapon charm. Perfect one to put on your rocket launcher. Really anything, if you like. On top of that, you can donate to charity the entire stream as well. Rise Against the Disorder.
Here, because I feel like when these guys get confident and they get the ball rolling downhill, they are the best in the world. But yeah, they can't always do that. It's not always that simple to be on at all times. So massive questions for me, as we do have this Sentinels Acend game starting right now. It is going to be Oddball on Recharge, and like we said, one of the keys for Acend here, it's going to be very difficult to outslay Sentinels. Well, fortunately, in Oddball, you got to pick up the objective. Can you play more efficient objective along the way than the Sentinels roster? Something that, honestly, I think they may be able to pull off, but we'll have to see.
A lot of questions to answer here, Wes. I like what you brought up about C9, though. I do think that even with Sentinels, you can't really know till Championship Sunday. Some of these teams, they just don't quite, show up to their full potential till it matters most. But so far, Friday, Sentinels, so far, Acend has been incredible. We'll see what they can do to combat them. 9 seconds to start the game. And Snipedrone, of course, the most important man on the map with the weapon he has.
Does a good job to stay alive as well. Getting the shield back. Kills coming through on the side of Acend. And you got a 9-point lead. You want to use this as an opportunity to get that objective going. Right now, you had 3 down. Frosty's the last guy alive, but he's being such a nuisance top elevator. Even Snipedrone not able to find the kill, and because Frosty stays alive for a little bit longer, you think Sentinels might have a successful push, but no, Acend get the 2 kills they need. They're going to continue this setup, and now it's going to be an early lead for Acend, and we'll see if Sentinels can break the setup immediately. If not, Acend will have a nice opportunity here, at least in round 1.
Well, here's the breakthrough we were hoping for. A little double kill out of Royal 2. You got to love the stick right before the death out of Lqgend just to try to stabilize it. Snipedrone finding another. Trying to convert onto Frosty. Repeaks for the second. Now he's in trouble. Has to reload. Frosty going to take full advantage. And when you give this man a shock rifle and a grapple to work with, plays might be made.
Usually bad things happen, but Frosty knows better. He needs to play some objective right now. Already down 29 seconds. A good job to grapple that ball to him. If you're Sentinels, though, you want Frosty on the loose. You want to get this ball out of his hands, but in the meantime, it is going to be respectful that picks up the camouflage. Sentinels might have broken the setup, but in the meantime, they weren't in a position to compete for this camo, and their setup's going to get broken because of it. A couple of players go down. The ball does not get played, and now what else can Respectful do?
We saw it in game 1 of the previous series. The man was, 16-4 to start things out. He's 7-2 for this one. Popping off with the camo 1 nade in. Melee doesn't quite find him the kill on the Frosty. Will just stay alive long enough to help the team with the cross here. Still got the grapple to work with. Looks like he's prioritizing kills over objective for just a second. That ball did reset, though. But with the numbers they have on the map and one more grapple left to burn, he can get that setup back.
He's doing it all right now. Frosty's not going to let this game get out of hand. It's only a 10-point lead for Acend right now, but Frosty picking up kills, more importantly, able to get that ball several different times now. Not typically the objective player for the Sentinels roster, or like the main objective player, especially when we're talking about Oddball, but Frosty just has to be the player that's in position to get that ball. He wants to start slaying because his presence needs to be felt. He understands that that's his role on this team, but right now, he's doing a good job of adapting.
And all while that happens, you can see Acend trying to break the adaptation. Respectful with 2, as they do try to find their way through to set up their own. Ball picked up by Lqgend. He'll bring it back to A. Respectful nearby to support him. Going to be an aggressive play at LethuL. Those Sentinels coming in quickly. Try to take advantage of the stagger here. That move out of respectful. Going to keep him positioning. He did. Sica already, sorry, Snipedrone set up. Attic, he's been picked off. That's going to give Sentinels a little lease on life, but you can see Acend already prepared to toss the ball out center map, make things tricky.
LeThuL can't finish respectful, does everything he can to try and capitalize on that damage from his teammate, but when he loses his life there, that's such a good job by respectful to make himself a hard kill and ends up eventually going down. 3 actually go down here as it is. Sentinels that get the round as slow as they need. The ball is going to be bottom middle, and now we're going to have to see a decision made with the objective here. SnakeBite with camo in hand, you know, he doesn't want the oddball either. So right now, Sentinels in such difficult positions where the player with the power, the player in a good position, plays the objective, and that's SnakeBite kind of punishing himself for trying to be a little bit too selfless there to pick up that ball. Meanwhile, LeThuL's been able to capitalize since then, found the shock rifle, a nice headshot from him. But you want to see Sentinels do a better job of having at least a different player pick up this objective in some of these situations where the camo guy can run free. The player with the shock rifle can do his job.
You got to wonder, part of it's just kind of the unfortunate timing and situation. I mean, fortunate and unfortunate, right? Having, you know, SnakeBite come out with the camo and the shock in the first place. Definitely a benefit to them. A lot of it is definitely positioning. Positioning looking good at this point, too. SnakeBite holding ball, ready to play it if necessary. Frosty man in the door. Unfortunately, he does drop. 56 and counting, though. It's up to Acend to try to break through this. You can see Sica already leading the charge there up front.
Ball's going to get played, though. And in the meantime, LethuL wins a crucial one on the Snipedrone. 2 go down as the ball's played. It's a 15-point lead. Now, all of a sudden, 17-point lead. I'm sorry. Math is tough on the fly.
I don't even bother with it.
So it was once a pretty hefty lead. And Acend doing a phenomenal job of honestly keeping up in the slaying department. But Sentinels has had a couple of setups as of recent, and they've been able to at least gain the lead here. A completely different story than what we were seeing earlier on in the round 1, but as the clock approaches 1 minute, you're wondering if this is going to get to 100 points or if this one's going to go down to time, and right now Sentinel is very happy with playing time.
Frosty just closing the distance on that stick, too. Beautiful shots at a Snipedrone coverage on camo. Acend looking to get grips on it. Like you said, just under a minute to play with here. As Acend do look to collect the ball, stall the timer. Beautiful little pre-nades out of LeThuL. We'll put a stop to that, though. They could play this for a setup. Lock things down. Attic side team there to work off of. Despite the opening plays we've seen out of Acend. When it comes down to team coordination, Sentinels slowly but surely, they're putting this one together in round 1.
Yeah, 3 go down. Now Sentinels looking to push this one to the end of round 1. It's going to be one more push on the side of Acend to try and break this setup, and Sentinels have everything they want. SnakeBite with the shock rifle, anchoring pipes, the ball. Going to be top red. There's a couple of players that SnakeBite's going to try and deal with. A little bit of a overextension there from SnakeBite's going to cost him his life. LeThuL's forced to trade, and it is going to be a successful setup. Broken. This is Acend's opportunity to get back into this one.
Got to be quick with it. Budging going to fly out, grab ball, take it back to pipes here. Sentinels not in position to take full advantage just yet. Got the info out of Snipedrone on the rotation through long haul here as well. You can see Lqgend just going to get out of this situation. Replace the setup. How does Acend play this? One break is all they really need to get the final 11 seconds, close this out. And you got to win your fights to do it. That's a massive one for Snipedrone. But the trades in, Sentinel still finding their footing in the ball.
Yeah, SnakeBite able to get his and finish off the damage from LethuL right there onto a double and get the ball, making it just about an impossible situation for Acend to deal with as he throws the ball bottom middle after getting a melee. SnakeBite's just put a punctuation here on round 1. Sentinels now can play time with 15 seconds. They only need 4 of them as well. And Acend are going to have to fly bottom middle to try and potentially steal round 1 away.
Don't quite have numbers to do it. Sica, the only one in position. He's on top of the ball. I believe he was. Sorry, he's got to pick it up. No time left to do it. And on 0 seconds, have they collected? Doesn't matter, does it? Didn't quite manage to get to it. Sentinels with way too much pressure in that first round. They'll lock that one out confidently.
What an unbelievable play by SnakeBite to make sure his team wins that first round. That was a much different Sentinels oddball game than what I'm used to watching here on Recharge. Typically, I'm wondering why they aren't next to the ball or why they're choosing not to build some scrappy time. Frosty and SnakeBite, honestly, roll 2 at a time. Did such a good job.
Oh, wow.
To get that ball out of a precarious position, to get it into a safe spot, to at least get some scrappy time, and all that time built up to make Ascend's job even harder at the end of the round.
And it was all off of a great opening from Acend as well. A little rinse and repeat of round one here. Acend winning the opening strat, at least in resources. Still got some work to do. There's 2 slays, thanks to Sica Snipedrone. Despite having the camo, Respectful's got to do the dirty work here. He'll collect the ball, recognizing he's at a teammates, though. He'll toss it back out immediately. Ooh, can he get sniped? But, oh, he will at least take the kill. Respectful living up 21 and 13 out of this man. Been making plays. Got more work to do, though.
More work to do because the objective not getting done on the side of Acend. At least not in the second half of that first round. They did start off well, and Respectful still continuing to slay at a high level is something promising that you want to see if you're a European fan, if you're rooting for Acend in this series or for the future. Respectful being able to slay the likes of Sentinels bodes well for their future, right? You wondered coming into the series that they were going to be able to get the kills that they need to get. Doesn't seem like that's the problem. It's more so, can they hold the setup once they get it, and can they break the setup once they find themselves at a deficit?
So far, it's been a game of Slayer, Wes. Only 3 points on the board. 3:30 on the clock. Sentinels trying to earn back center map here. Lqgend going to make that tricky. That'll be a 1v1. SnakeBite, Lqgend. Patience to try to get them. Oh, just clean him up with shots instead. Despite all the work there out of SnakeBite, Stray Nade will clean up Lqgend. And the Slayer continues here as no team with a real advantage to safely get ball.
Big kill under Frosty. That's shock rifle down as Camo's coming up. They have numbers. They have 2 down, but SnakeBite denies Camo from going into their hands. Can't do much more as he gets collapsed on. And this is going to be another Camo going into the hands of Acend, but these camouflages haven't resulted into much. Camo's actually still up, and somehow nobody on Acend able to make their way towards it. Is now all of a sudden respawners are starting to impact the battle for Camo. Maybe a little bit of a blunder. When you get that kind of numbers advantage, you need to be able to secure those power-ups.
Right.
And it does look like Sentinels has won at least the initial fight there, and it was a long one where nobody really opted to go for it outside of Frosty, but it's going to benefit Sentinels. In the meantime, they've been able to get the ball into a safe spot as well, and they're going to have another setup opportunity here in round 2. And this is something, a position where we saw Acend in round 1 struggle. They're going to need to find an answer for this quickly.
SnakeBite not ready for that one. Yes, for an answer, Wes. We might be finding it here. Assuming he gets that second kill. Snipedrone instead going to cut the losses, pick up the ball, go for a setup of his own. I like to see it. Yeah. It's been so scrappy, right? Back and forth, no real guaranteed team wipes. Camo will be picked up, but they'll lose the whole team in the process. Frosty going to try to make his way through Attic here in the meantime. Respectful trying to anticipate a challenge. Not quite sure he's ready for this one.
Almost narrowly misses the head as Frosty with the shock, but he looks to push on the elevator, and he understands that Acend, the rest of the 2 members, they're kind of out of position to help defend this setup. So I was going to compliment Acend on their ability to break Sentinel's setup so quickly. They were able to gain the lead momentarily, but immediately as I would have been able to do that, Acend's setup folds like a paper napkin, and Sentinel's back with an elevator opportunity, and more importantly, shock rifle in Frosty's hands, but a massive kill from Respectful to get Frosty taken care of. And now how do you get into pipes?
Patience so important on that push, though, right? The audio cues, Respectful just kind of waiting for the push above him. 2 nades is enough to do the trick. Finds a trade on the Royal 2 here as well. SnakeBite, he's had that repulsor, I want to say, most of the game, right? Just keeping players, keeping nades off of him, making himself a difficult kill, and giving Sentinels little opportunities to find time with the ball here. 44, that pickup by Royal 2, massive. He can bring it back to C, and there's the repulse once again. Nobody gets near SnakeBite.
Still just being a nuisance, and these are frustrating moments when you don't have a grenade, and Respectful sees the ball, it gets played, but that's a phenomenal job by Sentinels once again. They're going to benefit from the play ball, right? They get the slays they need, but aren't in a position to really capitalize objectively on it, and they got to flush these members out of pipes, and Frosty's so difficult to get out of there. He gets a double before going down. 51-23 all of a sudden, and SnakeBite with ball in hand. Going to continue to push that lead.
Looking similar to round 1. Pressure against Acend, both in time on the clock and points on the board here. 62 and counting for Sentinels. New setup starting to form. Acend need to be vigilant on the push, right? They can't lose their numbers. Advancing, or they have to wait to rinse and repeat all over again. They don't have a lot of time to make plays here.
The rotation of the objective, that's just always benefited Sentinels throughout this game, pretty much. It's something Acend have had few answers to, but nothing significant enough to keep this game close right now. It's over a 40-point lead, and Sentinels have done such a good job to make sure Acend don't hold a setup for too long at all. You're seeing an elevator setup broken immediately, and honestly, when you look at where Acend members are when the ball carrier goes down, they're always a little bit out of position. They're always a little bit too progressed on the map, and they're not able to cut off the push from Sentinels. And when that happens, Sentinels basically flip the map on you. You get caught maybe not being able to support the objective player as much as you need to, and because of it, Acend, they go 3 down again, and Sentinels are going to bring that ball right back into pipes with camo control as well. They're going to look to end game 1.
You got to wonder if, to some extent, it has to do with timing on the rotations. I mean, they had the ball in A, their teammates' position and control. You'd assume the objective would be to bring the ball to control to C, to maybe play it if you need to, but there's no real opportunity for them to find another moment like that. The entirety of Sentinels, your back pipes. And Frosty just locking things down as they close out the final seconds, make it a killing spree. Respectful down for the count here. Lqgend will try his hand. He needs to win this fight, and Frosty comes out with a trade.
You get the trade, but 4 points is all Sentinels needs, and a massive 4 shots onto LethuL on the side of Sica to try and manifest some kind of a comeback, but it's perfect table required right now, and Acend not showing us that they're capable of that so far here in game 1 against Sentinels. Frosty with 30, SnakeBite with 31, just absolutely having monster performances alongside their objective time. Look at that, 94 seconds for SnakeBite. Pretty much able to do it all, and that's what he brings to this team. They're going to be able to put a punctuation here on game 1. They're going to take the lead in this series, and this is a much different story when you're playing against Sentinels on the side of Acend.
Up against a whole new caliber of competition is what it's looking like off of game 1. Sentinels, they come out confidently. I believe we had 2 members on the team with over 30 kills there as well. Wes will take a peek in the stats shortly, I'm sure. But you expect to see this level of play at a Sentinels? Regardless of what day it is, they always show up. They're a very consistent team. Acend, they're definitely not out of the running, though, right? It looked like they had a lot of difficulty, I think, holding any form of a setup, getting those rotations, on time to stay alive, keep the ball in play. Sentinels always finding a way to stagger them, always winning, important 1v1s to make that setup opportunity difficult. Here we have one of the Sica there, too. The opening strats were beautiful out of Acend. They just could not carry the momentum.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see. I touched on it kind of after we got to see a little bit of round 1. This is a little bit different of a Sentinels than we've seen all year, in all honesty. And I'm not trying to be rude with that statement. I'm trying to say that they've improved. The fact that they're starting to play efficient objective makes me think that the practice, the hard work that they're putting in, the daily scrims that they're putting in, these guys are starting to catch on to what Halo Infinite looks like at its highest, most efficient level. And that's a scary thought for the rest of the competition going into Orlando and going into Worlds, is that these guys, when they hit their stride, you know what they're capable of.
You can definitely see that in the stats as well. Not just in the slays, but I think the bigger point here would be the assist category. I mean, 15 out of Frosty, Royal 2, and 12 out of SnakeBite. LethuL usually the one you expect to see with the assist, but even him holding his own, I think, overall, as a teammate. The start of that game from Acend, it looked beautiful, right? Respectful had reminiscent of game 1, match back with eUnited. I think he started with 7 or 8 and 2. Ton of damage out of him, too. Majority of the team almost hit an 8K there. It just wasn't quite enough to stabilize. I think Frosty, the biggest damage dealer in the lobby here.
Yeah, I think stats aside, just watching the objective finesse that we saw on the side of Sentinels was something special to watch, and it's something that's Acend really struggled with. And they got their kills some of the time. It started to get out of control towards the end. That second round was a little bit more lopsided, I'd say, than the first, but Acend are gonna have a hard time trying to deal with the amount of slaying prowess, as is just about anybody of some of the top teams like Optic, Sentinels, Cloud9. Those guys, all 4 of them, are always going to be on, and you have to match that level of power, that level of map presence if you want to be able to compete. And unfortunately for Acend, it's possible. Games are winnable, but to consistently be able to ask yourself to play at that level, that's something that Acend is yet to show us. But we're hoping that from the young guns and their careers and their aspirations, right? We're hoping that they're able to put it all together come that World Championship. And right now, game 1 shows you that Sentinels look like they have the leg up still.
Like you said, Wes, I think it's great experience for Acend regardless to kick off the day as well as they did. And then, of course, you know, despite going one down in that series, it looked winnable. You know, in certain instances, they definitely had the opportunity. And they have plenty of time, I think, to figure things out with Game 2. Slayer Aquarius coming up next, Wes. Going to be a little bit, obviously, different this time around. But there's no, I want to say, big swing items on this map that can really kind of create a massive gap between teams, like a sniper. Let's say. Instead, it's going to come down to that coordination on spawn control. With the size of this map, I think you can really lock things down in the bases, in the fridges, especially when you have a camo or a heat wave or shocks, let's say, to really lock things down.
Yeah, I think this is more of an Acend style of a map.
Sure.
For Slayer, very small, very like the small, fast gameplay is something that usually will try to I like to compliment with the Acend style from coming over from Halo 5. You know, they're a very fast-paced team. They're a very push the pace on our opponents. To try and gain that kind of presence on the map is just difficult against a team like Sentinels. It'll be interesting to see if we can see them in favorable positions throughout the game, and if they're able to take the same level of advantage that we saw that they were against the eUniteds. Can they get that first pick and transition it into the second, third, and fourth kills that they need? If they can win this game too. And this is Ascend's real opportunity, I would say, to stay in this series, to push this to a potential Game 4, capture the flag on Catalyst. And if you get it there, I know Sentinels is traditionally a very strong CTF team,
right?
But maybe there's a chance.
Well, you said it, Wes, collapsing off little openings. You get one dead. Are you fast enough to turn that into a snowball, turn that into a team wipe? Or if you're on the receiving end of it, what do you do to counter? What do you do to, you know, win fights that aren't advantageous for you? Either way, Acend, here we go. Game 2. Up against Sentinels. Quite the juggernaut as expected. This opening strat, I'm sure, will set the pace for it all.
Frosty gonna help his team secure this camo, and it's SnakeBite with camo this time around.
Oh,
couple of kills back and forth, but more importantly, the power-up goes into Sentinels' hands. We'll see what kind of an opportunity SnakeBite's going to find here.
One he can patiently wait for as well. Sica already down for the count. He spotted Lqgend on the rotation, but you can see how quick Acend are to try to out-rotate, get away from that unreasonable situation in the fridge. These shock nades are going to definitely reveal some players, though. Tick's already coming in. Sentinels getting aggressive on the push, and what we talked about from the side of Acend, collapsing on little openings. Sentinels doing this beautifully.
Back and forth these two teams go. Only a 2-kill game, so camouflage maybe not creating enough of a window for Sentinels there at the start to blow this game wide open, and that's a testament to Acend. We'll see what these dynamo spawns kind of favor them as they are going to have a potential to try and push what looks like Sentinels is set up over towards yellow, but
oh my.
I mean, Frosty gets a triple, and that's every bit of the difference in the score right now. It's still a 3-kill lead, but Acend looked like they were going to have a push. Frosty takes down 3 as they expose themselves front the base, and trying to take down Frosty first is probably a good strategy to try and employ to make sure that that kind of damage isn't done by one player.
We'll leave it up to Sica, though. Nice little display of kills from him, right? 3 and 4 in total. Lqgend right now on screen. Top Slayer on the team here, all coming down to camo. You can see the team split each side of the map. Entirety Sentinels over on pink. And Acend looking to find a perimeter around it. Look at this, 2 on yellow, 2 on blue. Quite a cross to deal with from pink side. Sica already picking off 1. Great positions to hopefully neutralize the camo push here.
Good job by Sica to stay alive here. They've been able to flip this score in their favor now, 14-12. Acend doing a phenomenal job with the control that they have. Trying to push on the Dynamo side as well. Multiple players from Sentinels are around here. Dip diving and trying to do as much as you can, but LethuL eventually gets that kill, and that was a big one from LethuL to relieve some of the pressure. A couple members from Acend are stuck bottom middle here. I'm not quite sure if they're going to get taken down, and instead Royal 2 gets deleted by the heat wave, tries to find these players that were bottom middle, and it is going to be a successful win for Acend, even though it looked like it was going to be a tough position to fight out of when they were bottom middle there. Acend doing a good job so far of controlling the map. Not seeing a lot of aggressiveness out of Sentinels so far throughout this game too, but you wonder if that'll change.
Really got to hand it to the positioning out of Acend, though, to prepare themselves for camo, focus slays, take it when they had the opening to do so, and, you know, turn that into a lead for them. Now 3 kills, separating the teams. Squaring off top pink here. SnakeBite comes out on top. Sica in position to clean it. You gotta love the use of the carbine there coming into play. Such a massive nuisance on the map that weapon is when you get tagged by it. Taking full advantage of everything on the wall here. Always crucial. Notice these pro players never miss opportunities to pick up a secondary.
So much scavenging done on all of the maps in Infinite, right? So much situational advantages these weapons give you. And on a map like Aquarius, you're even scavenging for commandos, heat waves. Even the sidearm will do its job close up when given the opportunity. What a thrust by SnakeBite there. The double kill to kind of swing momentum. Ties the game up, but not that. They're going to have all of Acend trapped over at yellow here. And as SnakeBite wants to start to push the pace here, he's going to be by himself. Gets a lot of damage down. And now the big question is the rest of the Sentinels here to capitalize?
Somehow a kill from the grave there as well. You got to assume his intention is to take the focus off of camo, give Sentinels an opportunity to control it. They still do have top map, as I say it, but Sica with a kill. Acend starting to get aggressive, trying to find their way to it. Camo's still up. Sentinels on top of it. The plays coming out of, I believe, Sica Snipedrone trying to stay alive, but World 2 does take advantage. Remainder of Sentinels on top of pink. Beautiful shots out of Frosty with commando as they continue to defend camo here.
All of a sudden, it's a 3-kill lead for Sentinels. Map control in their favor as well, and Frosty's going to have this camouflage. He pops it as he goes into the closet, and because of that, he's spotted out. He's able to get a kill before getting taken down, but did not expect the player to be on that bridge, and because Acend are able to pick up that kill, that relieves a lot of the push as well. It's a 2-kill game still. Acend doing a phenomenal job to combat the control that was once just Sentinels is here. And as we cross that 35 kill mark, the fact that this game is within striking distance is everything Acend fans wanted to see.
Something I think I've noticed with Acend specifically, Sentinels, is just the control of shocks, though, out of Frosty right there, but throughout the game, off of these spawn collapses, making it so difficult for Acend to find room to breathe, make it 2 dead here. 39 on the board as we get to the end zone of this game. Frosty with another, and Sentinels starting to find some setup breaking opportunities here. Acend, you can see them starting to scramble in response to it.
Here comes the lead. Here comes the push. A phenomenal trade by Frosty there. Trades are everything you want. Now up 5, 43-38. You only need 7 to go. And look at how difficult of a position Sica finds himself in right now. Lost his teammates. They're going to spawn on the opposite side of the map. And they leave Sica. They forget about him. They don't quite flush him out. Could he have a flank? Actually LethuL with the awareness. Turns around, says, wait a minute, there may be one more. Ruins any plan. Sica might have had it flanking, and because of that, they flipped the map perfectly. Now up 5.
Best time to have an advantage like this. Acend forced to play perfectly because of it. Respectful with one trade that comes in. Everything Sentinels needs to just inch closer to victory. Respectful. Need to see him go huge again. Sica with the kill. Can't quite stay up on top pig. Make it 48. Camo sitting up top mid, all tantalizing, but they just need to live. That's a double out of SnakeBite. One final kill for Sentinels, and they'll find it. Putting Acend down in a 50-44, taking the series, or 2, I guess, to 2-0.
Series 2-0 Sentinels, and every bit of momentum that Acend thought they may have after the eUnited series, that's long gone. So quickly do you gain and lose momentum, I feel like, in tournaments, in Halo, and right now, Acend on the ropes. They kept that one close up until about the 35 kill mark, but right when you saw Sentinels gain map control, right when you saw them really feel momentum, they started to push it. They started to get their kills and maybe not be traded nearly as efficient. And that's a difficult part for Acend to try and balance, Shyway, is when you have that level of consistency at Sentinels, you got to do it for 50 kills straight, right? You can't just do it for half the game. You can't do it for 3/4 of the game. Eventually they're going to break you, and when they do, that's when the game's decided, right? You have to be able to compete for that all 50 kills. You can't just keep it close up until this point, right? Because you're going to be kicking yourself based off just 1 or 2 decisions that could have gone differently. But that's the difference between the goods and the greats, is the greats, they play good all game long, and in order to beat them, you need to match that level.
To shut down Frosty, I think, as well. 17, 11, and 8 coming out of that game. We saw him making plays throughout. A triple kill at the start of the game as well, really to make a statement. But I think the biggest thing, like you said, was their ability to keep him staggered, to always keep that one-man advantage, and Acend, constantly fighting from the back foot, fighting for trades, not taking control, not being proactive because of it. And Sen, very good at that, at setting the pace and maintaining it through game. Like you said, we need to see perfect play out of Acend if they want any shot at a bounce back here. They've got one more game left to do it.
One more game, and it's not going to be easy, but
no.
I think Acend can still be proud of the performance they put up against eUnited. They're going to want more. They're going to want to create these upsets in the future, but this is great practice for them, right? This is everything they want. They want all of the hardships. They want to learn the hard way as far as how to try and beat some of the best in the world. If they get their shot at Sentinels here, and maybe shots at Sentinels later on in their careers will be a little bit easier once they are able to learn, hey, this is where we messed up. This is where we need to figure out what to do. When we get into this situation, we got to switch this up. Sentinels, Cloud9, FaZe, Optic, these teams are putting a certain level of pressure on you that they're not used to. So being able to learn how to cope with that pressure, how to strategically play around that kind of a level of play is something that Acend are going to be able to use in the future. So although it looks doom and gloom here, this is actually a net positive, this experience, I would say, overall. Right. And Acend have so much to learn from these experience, and not a ton of time to do it, but it's great that they get the opportunity still.
No doubt there's going to be a VOD review after this one, right? It's just all material you can work with to improve your play and hopefully clutch things up next time. Despite it, the series is not over. King of the Hill live fire, what might be our last match. We saw Acend clutch up big brain plays out of eUnited and King of the Hill recharge, right? Despite their control of the map, despite how eUnited was able to bleed the timer with the advantage they had, Acend didn't let up. They clutched things up in overtime. Maybe we can find that same kind of, wherewithal out of the team here.
Yeah, maybe. And
maybe.
My fingers aren't crossed, my hopes aren't up.
Yeah.
But anything Acend does from this point in the series on is a net positive, right? At this point, you're down 2-0. In order to create the reverse sweep, that would be an unbelievable performance by the side of Acend. But for now, focus on it game by game and take in the practice where you can. There's a lot of money on the line this weekend. Elimination bracket is still a reality for these guys. They've already proven that they have what it takes to compete with some of the best in North America, but this is the cream of the crop, right? This is as good as it gets. This is the experience that these guys have been saying that they want. Well, be careful what you wish for in a sense, and make sure you just understand what in reality the opportunity that you have in front of you is. Take this as an opportunity to learn.
And hopefully an opportunity to win this opening strat. This first hill can be locked down in a big way once you have the numbers to do it. A lot to control in the meantime, though. You can see LethuL does pick up the snipe to start things out. OS about to spawn. Getting tagged up by Snipedrone. He'll put that down on the ground. Early presence out of Sentinels to get into hill, but they might be giving up OS to take control of this. Ooh. Got a stick off
goes on here. Yeah, we'll see what goes on here. It's odd that one team's going to get overshielded and the other team's not going to get a real significant chunk of time, right? And that's not... It's about a fourth of the way for the side of Sentinels right now, but you wanted more.
Potential still there.
They are able to keep control of this side of the map, and that was an unbelievable job by Frosty to kind of stand off any of the pressure from Acend and stand his ground. And in the meantime, he's got his team off respawn, and Acend hasn't really been able to push. A little head glitch here is you see a little lineup there. That's something that you can take a note of. Players will walk right into that. The spacing is so important with the reticle placement there, but Frosty does everything like that to a T. That's why he's the best in the game.
I definitely think angles is one of the biggest, it's not a new skill gap, but it's one of the more important ones in Infinite versus Halo 5, just how much you need to really consider and take advantage of some of these angles like we saw from Frosty. You've got less tools to, escape fights. When you are, compromised, you're in trouble, especially when those first shots come in. And a great way to do that is with a cheeky angle. And first cap, apparently, too, at a Sentinels, playing this beautifully to start.
First point going over to Sentinels. The hill's moving over to towers. And Sentinels, I was going to say, is there. But a great job by Lqgend and Sica to finish off the rest of the boys. Overshield's going to come up. The super slide to come out. picks up the overshield, and that's a phenomenal sequence of events from Lqgend. The kills, the control, the spawns of your teammates towards the hill, and the pickup of overshield. Everything you could ask for Ascend to be able to compete here for the second hill.
Lqgend with a full map rotation while it happens. He's still finding kills. He's got the resources to keep the plays up. They need hill time, though. Frosty in the way of it. What a way to close the distance. Still get a melee despite being one shot, but turn it into three. Does Lqgend. He's not done yet.
What a play by Lqgend. You thought when that melee came through that was a mistake. You want to keep your shield. You don't want that one-shot player meleeing you, but Lqgend able to turn that single kill into a triple. 9-0-5 right now. Lqgend, I think, is the best player in Europe and showing you a little bit of the individual skill that he has. He's going to need to create plays like that. And right when Lqgend makes a play, look at what happens. Good things happen for Ascend. They score a point.
Really puts the onus on some of the individual skill on this roster, like Lqgend, currently 10-6, by the way, leading the board and slice. Up to Sentinels once again to find defensive plays to start the hill. Here, Royal 2, SnakeBite do get their trades. Respectful with an answer as well. That Snipe, I think, still trading hands on the Sentinels roster. Lqgend with another flank comes out with a trade as well. And things are dicey here for control of this hill.
Yeah, this is back and forth. This is not typically the second hill that we're used to seeing. Usually one team able to get a setup, potentially withstand some of the pressure, but now back and forth, these two teams have gone. But it is going to be Ascend that have control, that have the opportunity at the first setup of this third hill. It is going to be the first couple of kills going towards Sentinels. They're answered right back, though, in a 2v2 situation. LethuL's in a very difficult spot, but doing a good amount of damage here, staying alive, and honestly, forcing the hand of Ascend right here. But back and forth is overshield acquired by SnakeBite. This is a massive opportunity for them to actually break this setup now.
Sentinels with 2 games under their belt so far. A strong start out of them until Sica had something to say about it. World 2 here to pick up the pieces. But overall, the control, the playmaking out of this team, it is undeniable, Wes. And I'm wondering, what is it? What's making the difference? Maybe it's in the comms. Let's jump into a listen-in with Sentinels, see what they have to say.
Hey, one Mangler. Nice. They're gonna be an A, guys.
And Keto good me. Keto going screens.
Living top.
I can go garage. I'm gonna wait for you guys. I'm gonna get spikes. I don't know.
I'm top mid right now. Yeah, we have one break.
They're enemy garage.
Yeah, one's pushed up screens, and then
Lqgend
went hit. Mangler, Lqgend went hit.
We can do a lot of damage here.
Yeah, still.
Matter. I've shot Snipedrone, one hit, dead.
Snipedrone, nice.
Absolute.
They want a garage. Want a garage, Lqgend. Want a garage.
Respectful one out. Respectful one out, Ovi.
Oh wow.
All right. They're gonna get this, guys. We want to just make sure we get this next hill. Yeah, I'm going heat wave. I'm gonna go A. Yeah, I'm going A.
A weak.
I gotta go. I'm in A, man. I'm in A. They're holding me. I'm going A plat. Hitting A plat. TJ, watch my nades, bro.
Yeah, just got me again.
I'm gonna go A. Sica was in A. Sica was in A. Yeah, he's on nade speed.
Nade's weak.
He went cuter. I'm gonna push him. Okay.
Nice.
One hit cuter.
One tower.
Yeah, I got Sica, and then hill guy.
Alright, let's go hill.
Top tower.
Where's hill guy? He went to cuts.
He went to cuts.
Yeah,
we're gonna get this way.
Top tower. TJ, play your life. They're gonna be beast mode.
I'm playing for you.
Top tower half. Your tower ramp half.
I'm pushing.
Yeah, I'm pushing up. I'm pushing my mat.
They're gonna come out of hill. Dude. Okay. They're gonna be an A. Yeah, everything's up.
Pushing tower.
Yeah, I'm gonna go up.
Ton of patience on the comms of Sentinels. That's one big thing, I think, Wes, is there's no, shakiness. They're definitely not struggling when it comes to communication, keeping it together. I like that, keep talking, a little quote that they had there, too. Just a small talk to, find the openings, make sure they're playing off each other. Despite all those efforts, though, they are clearly struggling when it comes to the momentum out of Ascend here. Lqgend with 19 kills, by the way, as they take their third hill.
Yeah, Lqgend's taking over this game, and that shows you just how much individual skill he has. When I say he's the best player in Europe, he's good. And I mean good against anybody. This is the best in the world. He's doing this against 20-0-9 right now, giving his team a 3-1 lead. And this is the kind of performance that you're needing from Lqgend in order to compete with the world's best. He's got to play at a world class. He's doing just that for us right now. And this is Ascend's game to lose. And we talked about it before this game started. Ascend, they're playing with house money right now. You're down 2-0 in the series. Not a lot of hope to potentially win the series, but if you take it game by game and you get individual performances from the greats on your team, there's still a chance.
Well, there's definitely a chance. We're starting to see it here with 3 caps on board. A tricky one to control as well. Middle of the map, a tower side position, so important just to get a line of sight constantly on it. The scrappy fights continue as they do try to find that control. Little flank out of SnakeBite here, finds him 1. Acend stepping in the hill, assaulted by 2. There goes SnakeBite. That'll stagger the numbers. You can see the patience forced out of Sentinels here. They cannot afford to just kind of YOLO at it without the opportunity to do so here. Frosty with the sniper.
Such a difficult spot to do anything with the sniper from this position, though. And I believe there's a player flanking open field as well.
Ooh.
Frosty does rip the head off the player top tower. That's the angle you want. Acend give it right to him, and that's 4 down. This is a Sentinels' way back into this one. Unfortunately, they do spawn window, and Frosty's not going to really expect that. There's going to be a player behind him. Does get the overshield, activates it, and he's going to have a one-on-one over here at the window. He should win, but Sica's doing a great job to try and buy time in that situation. In the meantime, though, all of this hill time is significantly going into Sentinels' favor, and they need to score this point fast if they want to come back in this one and tie this one up, because they're going to have to get this point, the next, and tie that one up to go into overtime.
You see Frosty still has that snipe in the back pocket, so despite having to work for that kill there, back scoreboard, he stayed up. He continued to make plays, and so did Sentinels. SnakeBite going to put the cherry on top of that one. I think that's 2 hills to their name, and the shifting things back to the first hill of the game here. And one that Sentinels can lock down flawlessly as well with the numbers and with the resources that they have. Acend can do the same if they win the snipe here.
I think it's a coincidence that Frosty picks up snipe, Sentinels score the point. I don't.
No, definitely not.
Frosty picks up another snipe. Usually good things happen when this guy finds the S7 for this team.
And bad things for everyone else. Uh-oh. He's trying to live for now. You can see Acend actually did rotate the hill. Well, he did grab the weapon, though, right? He's got to plow his way through the defenses here.
It's 2 down. That's the signal. You got to go. But Frosty gets good comms. Patiently allows this player to play the back of the hill. He knows he doesn't really have the utility to try and push out a player back hill, so he focuses on map control. Beautiful job by LethuL to repulse some of the damage from the grenades through. The Sim members still coming off respawn as well, so Sentinels have map control, and this is where they can come back in this game, and this is where Acend need to once again prove to us that they can withstand the pressure from Sentinels, the setup of Sentinels, and put it into this game 3 before a comeback happens.
Sentinels with that absolute patience. They're just not faltering. They're not fumbling. Frosty with the snipe still. Doesn't quite hit Respectful. Got all the weapons he could need. They keep trying, though. Respectful. Can he knock him down? He will. Lqgend comes in with the OS. Finally, Acend, they got some sort of control here to work with. That hill nearing capture, but Acend finally finding the positions they want. Look at this, Lqgend. Oh, he's getting aggressive. Snipedrone and hill. Sica waiting in A side. There's the cutoff from bottom mid as well. Sentinels, they're in trouble. Nice little death stick at a SnakeBite will hopefully kick things off, but we're getting close to the end of the game here, Wes.
Yeah, they're going to have one push, if that. They got to get over there fast. Snipedrone's no shield and hill, but the teamwork from Acend, the setup of Acend is too strong. The second Frosty goes down with that snipe without doing any damage, that was Ascend's opening to close the door on this game 3. They're going to extend this series at least to a game 4, and if you remember, Shyway, game 4 is Catalyst CTF.
Oh.
If it's any objective on the side of Acend that you want to see, it is probably the one that is the newest, that the meta has not been maybe defined as concrete. And because of that, maybe you have an opportunity to show something to Sentinels that they don't already know.
I mean, on top of the limited matches that Sentinels and Acend probably have with each other, when have they played Catalyst with each other? Probably never, right? Because the map came out after Kansas City. So a lot of questions to be answered with that one, and I think that bodes well for Acend trying to make the comeback. And you got to love how they did it this time, though. Lqgend, look at that scoreboard, 19-9 in this one. The man making plays. He ended up with 27 kills to close it, despite what we saw from Frosty. You can't deny Frosty was controlling the snipe, the heat wave most of the game. Did a lot of dirty work for the team here.
Yeah, a lot of dirty work done by everybody on the side of Acend, but the most was from Lqgend. Just absolutely popping off, giving his team every bit of what they need. And when Lqgend can find his groove, He can do this even to the best teams in the world, and I think that he's going to be a household name after Orlando.
Yeah.
Not quite sure how renowned Lqgend is, but every single time I feel like I watch this Acend team play, every time I watch Lqgend play, what he's been able to do to his game, the elevation he's been able to bring to this Acend roster come Halo Infinite, it has been something special that these guys need, and I think he is the greatest talent to ever come out of Europe.
I think so too. He's definitely up there. If you've been keeping tabs towards the end of Halo 5 and watching his 1v1s against the likes of Bound and Renegade and some of the top players, he wins those. You know, he's up there. He is incredibly individually skilled. We're seeing it here in this game, nearly 7K damage, far and away above the rest of the lobby. Of course, his team showing up as well, and they're going to need to continue to do this. You got to love the patience that they had to close that one out. Wes, too, was, you know, despite the lockdown on the hill, Sentinels with a double dilemma of they need to be able to hold hill, but rotate for OS as well. Acend, they waited for that opportunity. They won their fights on OS. They used that to their advantage.
Yeah, they played that so well, right? And patiently understanding we have a lead to play around is something I wanted to see out of Acend there throughout the end of that game 3, right? Like, you have such a significant lead once you go up 3-1 that you need to understand your win conditions and what it really means to take advantage of some of these moments, not to make sure that the pace of the play doesn't get out of hand, especially when Frosty has the snipe. It's very easy that you allow him to just take over the game. You don't keep track of him as well as you should, and he continues to find picks. That is not something Acend gave. The second Frosty missed the no-scope onto Respectful jumping off a bridge, that is exactly the moment they were able to spot Frosty, take him down, make sure his ability to impact the outcome of the end of this game is negligible, and from there use our numbers to take over this setup with the overshield, right? They played for overshield as well, which was a massive piece. They didn't hectically try to compete for a hill that they didn't necessarily need. That is a veteran play out of the roster from Acend. That is textbook what you need to do once you've built the comfortable lead that you have. Your win conditions now expand. So I love the fact that Acend were able to kind of change their play style up a little bit, understand the situation at hand, and close the door there. It's so important to watch this team gain their leads against top teams, but more importantly, close the door when they have it.
Will the adaptation continue is my question, though, Wes. Here we go. Catalyst, CTF, a big question mark on both sides. I don't believe these teams have ever gone head-to-head on this map before, and a lot of goodies to control. We're not going to use all of them, as some of us know. That sword will continue to spin indefinitely, but the skewer, the grapple, the repulsor, points of control, especially around that OS and center map.
Here we go. Can Acend use the game 3 as the momentum is the big question right now. Sica gonna patiently trying to play for this overshield, but he's got SnakeBite roll 2 in front of him. SnakeBite's got the overshield in hand, and maybe just a little bit of a lack of focus and prioritization on that overshield exactly on the side of Acend. Is gonna allow SnakeBite to be the victor of the combat loop here. Now he's gonna be aggressive with that. The overshield might be gone, but the pick is in. The grapple being used to quickly relocate to the flag. The flag on the move now. And this is what you worried about when you saw a CTF from the Sentinels. These guys are some of the best CTF players in the game. And they already had that flag on the move across halfway. SnakeBite turns the corner before you can do any damage. You got some teammates there, though. Here comes the pinch from Acend. They could get the stop. Respectful delays it. 3 go down, and now it's up to World 2 coming off respawn to try and defend it. And Acend are not going to let that happen. They get the return with an opportunity to countercap here.
No way. That must have been a frame-perfect run out of SnakeBite, not skipping a beat. He was just barreling through, bobbing and weaving as he did it. He managed to get it right to the end zone. And what does Acend do? They shut him down last second. Looks like this flag won't go through as well, though. Sentinels stabilize. They find the defense, keep things at the 0-0 scoreline. But what a fast way to kick this off. Probably too late to say it, Wes, but the way Sentinels got in there with, the way SnakeBite got in there with the grapple, he timed the slide over the ledge with the grapple. That's tech I don't often see. I hope we see more of.
It was so good by SnakeBite, but it was even better by Acend to understand the situation. We know how strong of a Halo 5 team this Acend roster was. And the big thing for me was Halo 5 gameplay, especially CTF, a lot of it revolved around overextending. Something that Catalyst CTF once again brings into the Halo Infinite story for CTF is that overextension story heavily, right? You can stop caps if you're able to overextend in the right manner. Something Acend are going to be very strong at, you would think. Benefits them to keep this at a 0-0 game for now, but looks like they've given up another overshield to the hands of SnakeBite. It's Sica that's able to stop the flag. as he eliminates SnakeBite with that flag not getting on the move, and Sica just stopped this flag run by himself.
Acend, no doubt, very quick on the map. Like you said, overextending key to victory, to success in this one, and something they do very well. What I'm curious to know is how well do they communicate with each other also? Let's see a little listen with Acend.
There was another one like Verkar side, I think. There's one, Verkar car sneaky. One guy going cut. Verkar right now, LethuL. Verkar, together.
That's back.
1P. Two guys Verkar.
Two guys, look at me.
I'm trying to run. I got one.
They main ramp. Nice, bro. Two there. Milk him, Mike.
Nice fitted.
Let's stay on Mike. Sample him.
Perfect. I'm gonna get car control. Car 2 on me with Cure. Actually, one's going on Carol. He's waiting on Carol with Cure.
I'm just a Slayer.
He's going car 2 again.
It didn't die, bro. It's one shot there, Carl.
Okay, they're still LethuL. Watch it,
LethuL never died on car.
Their Carl, can we? Their car up and their Carl.
I'm pushing our car, jump over here. They're pushing our Carol, I think. Yeah, our Carol with Cure again.
Nice.
Okay, Arcar, again, Arcade. Watch the SnakeBite Arcades. He's going to
car now. He's low.
Il était car to car.
Copy on me.
J'entends pas.
Not peek on me.
Can't see him. Can't see the guy car 2 weak, one.
Oh my god, two guys at flag, bro. They go in their car.
Two cars for me.
Play light, bro.
I can't, bro. We car 2 again. Car 2 is going on Carol. SnakeBite. Two guys on Carol. No, one guy on cut, one guy on Carol.
I'm here, Mike. Oh, that's players. They're gonna be playing for this.
Yeah, they're trying to get...
Let's push this. Wait, I got skewer. Wait.
Okay, P2 each.
Okay, car 2,
And OSP is going out top IV, I think. OSP being off here.
Yeah,
Mike, I have a skewer here. Aren't we, bro?
Okay, familiar on him.
Yeah, no S left. Two guys up here straight.
Hello, man.
Nice, wait, don't die on it. Yeah.
Some clean, coordinated comms here coming out of Acend. They don't step over each other, and they seem to be making big plays as well. They already got one flag on the board. Forced to play some defense here, though, Wes.
Forced to play D. They do have the lead, though. And it does look like that defense has stood tall so far here. They do lose a couple of members, and right now, I mean, Acend, they're getting outslayed, but the objective efficiency, something's starting to benefit them right now. They've been able to hold a lot of these flag runs, but here comes another one. Can they get the overextension to be the same storyline right now? LethuL trying to cut off some of the overextenders here. He does just that with a little help from Royal 2. A phenomenal job by LethuL to cut these players off, and that's going to do it. This game's going to be tied up here momentarily. Even if you get a kill on the SnakeBite across the map, he's going to punch it in. Great shots, but you need to focus on what's going on in your own base potentially, because Royal 2, after picking up that kill, already looking to get another flag on the move.
The remainder of Acend still overextended in the meantime, though. Hopefully they can combat this. You got Respectful up front. He fell off the map, though. He's done, thanks to LethuL. Defensive kill coming in here, thanks to Snipedrone, though. Frosty looking to get the pickup on it. Make it a double. That's going to force Royal 2 to rotate to get back to it, but he doesn't have the help. And I love the slide attempt, but he'll get cleaned up. Sica finds him. That 1-1 tie will maintain. OS about to spawn up here as well, and it looks like Acend with the grapple and with Respectful's positioning. They got a good opportunity for it.
Yeah, it was honestly such an impressive play there from Snipedrone to get that 2 kills. Once again, another player steps up, stops an entire flag run by himself. But these individual plays, you wonder how long they can keep up, right? You wonder how long Sentinels are going to allow these opportunities. Right now, though, Snipedrone with what feels like is Ascend's real first overshield of the game. He's got everybody in front of him. He's able to get a kill. A lot of attention onto him as well. What can the rest of Acend do?
Well, looks like Sentinels needs to cut off the flag as the priority number 1. LethuL with a kill onto Sica. That'll slow things down a bit. Hopefully give Sentinels some time, but they don't have time for it. What a grapple rotation. Just catching the end of it. Respectful will punch that one in confidently. But the slays coming out of Sentinels could give them an opportunity to counter.
Yeah, they'll have every opportunity to counter, but this is what we've seen such good moments of Acend throughout this game of, right? This is where they've been able to stop these opportunities from Sentinels. They're such a good team at stopping these flag runs. Unfortunately, it was up to Lqgend, it seemed, and Lqgend, he gets taken down, so this is going to be a counter cap that turns into an actual capture and ties the game up 2-2, but Acend still feeling like they're going blow for blow right now in game 4, looking to push this series to a game 5.
Despite the tie, You could say dictating the pace on this one is Acend.
Yeah.
Still got work to do. Still got time to burn. Losing fight center map here, too. LethuL 2 get their picks. SnakeBite with a massive survival there. That's LethuL with the helping hand from across the map. Does get the kill. And that gives Sentinels the opportunity to push up once again here. Stray nade. Not sure if he shot the nade or tossed it. Either way, LethuL going to take his time.
He's having such a massive impact on Sentinels' game so far. LethuL has done so much to keep this at a 2-2 game right now. And when you do that with players like SnakeBite, LethuL 2, and Frosty on your team, usually they're going to show up eventually. But 3 were just down momentarily. Acend get around the sways. And they're going to have the battle for this overshield in their favor right now. There's no way. LethuL makes another play, gets a double as the last guy alive, denies overshield from going into the favor of Acend. And look at this. Lqgend was in the enemy base pulling a flag as well. So if you think they get that overshield, that could potentially have been the lead right there going to Acend. LethuL makes another play to shut that down. He's been such a crucial piece to this puzzle.
I was about to say, do they know Lqgend is back there, but he just died. And they found him with a numbers advantage. Sentinels looking to capitalize. Frosty with another. Gonna leave Snipedrone by his lonesome. He's now down for the count. Respectful with a trade. Sentinels with the numbers, though. Look how quick Acend get back across the map, though, as they rotate through Repulsor side. I believe that flag might be pulled, though. On the side of Sentinels. And it's going to come down to a battle at the base here to stop this. Sica with one. Lqgend with another. Multiple dying on the side of Sentinels, but they still punch that flag in.
It's going to have to be a counter cap. SnakeBite almost gets one, and that would have been massive because that would have made this flag run a little bit weaker on the side of Acend, but it's going to be a Sentinels overextension story. Can they do what Acend has been able to do throughout this game in order to stop this run? It does look like they've been able to pick up a couple of kills. LethuL 2's on the return already, and they've stopped this run. Apparently, Acend ran it towards the respawners of Sentinels, and Sentinels cut that one off. They pick up the kills, they hop the return, and now with 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock, this has been a very chaotic game where flags have been pulled left and right, but do we see Sentinels start to turtle up a little bit? Do we see them start to play this clock a little bit more? And how can Acend break that setup if that is the case?
They got to win fights. That seems to be the difficult thing here. You know, not just the gap in the scoreline with 3-2, but you look at those slays, and Sentinels starting to pave the way in this one. LethuL 2, by the way, he's 22-10. And what's the man holding? He's holding a skewer. This could be deadly. Unless he gets naded, of course. Those hallways, right? So deadly as well.
Lqgend, the player to watch from game 3. He's going to get the overshield. This is going to be their moment. The last overshield of the game. It's in his hands. Can they put it to use?
Might be one of their last opportunities to do it, Wes. Minute 30 on the board here. Acend forced to play this perfectly. Does spot Frosty, one player back base. That's SnakeBite. He'll slide in for it. 2 dead already. Doesn't get the trade as well. Numbers advantage Acend. The flag pull to maybe tie the game right here. They got to play it perfectly.
They blocked the spawns this time, so it's going to be an overextension from Sentinels, you think. They're still dealing with players in their base. It's up to LethuL and one other member of Sentinels. They're trying to get here, trying to deny this from going in, but the flag cap is too fast.
Okay.
Frosty can't get there from top middle. Nobody can cut it off. And with a minute left, Acend used that overshield to get the cap. But this is what you risk. Actually, it's respectful. He stayed at Sentinels' base.
Right.
He's got this flag on the move, but in the meantime, he lost his entire team. They're going to run this flag themselves. And a respectful in a very difficult situation is going to have to get a lot of information for his team, keep this flag alive. And this is going to be a bit of a flag standoff, ships in the night situation.
And a beautiful way to close the game as well.
Oh, my forehead.
Oh, LethuL. No, the whole team being wiped here. That flag moving. And with 30 seconds left in the board, Sentinels, they plant it in. Acend, they've got one shot. They got one push. And Sentinels, you know they're going to make it impossible.
Snipedrone trying to get there. 16 seconds. Grapple's going to help close the distance, but you got to get the kills. And unfortunately, when you lose 2 teammates, you find SnakeBite. That's not the answer. SnakeBite closes the door on this series, but Acend looks strong, just not strong enough. Sentinels will win this in a 3-1 fashion. And Shyway, that is the Acend you want to see. That was the closest Catalyst CTF game you could have asked for here. Obviously, as fans of the game, we want to see a game 5 every time. but this is a massive opportunity for Acend to understand where they're at right now, where can they improve, and can they get to there before the end of the weekend? Can they get there before Orlando, before Worlds? Can we really see a European team compete with North America's best? I think Acend are showing you that they're just one step away.
They definitely prove they can hang. It's beautiful Halo on both sides, that's for sure. Sentinels, they come out on top. They're looking good, but Acend, the wild card, I think, with the potential to punch even further as they come back through that lower bracket. It really came down to Slays in the end of that. You know, LethuL with the clutch to bring them down to 4 dead towards the end of the game. You can see the difference here, of course, on the scoreboard. Royal 2, 26 and 11 with 10 assists. Far and away the KD earner, I guess, on the board. Lqgend and team definitely stacking up, though. I think when it came down to speed of play, the way they rotated on the map, they set the pace for the first half of it. Sentinels, they just found their kills. They found the damage halfway through.
And if we want to talk about that game just moment to moment for just a second, that was a very interesting scoreline to a game that could have been heavily lopsided in the favor of Sentinels. I mean, Slays obviously in their favor, but let's talk about the individual plays that we're seeing from Sica, that we're seeing from Lqgend, from Snipedrone throughout that game that stopped almost guaranteed caps from going in from Sentinels. If you don't get this double, they're going to cap, is basically the situation you're in. Time after time,